Welcome back to the workshop, everybody. Your good friend Walter here. So glad you could be with me today as we start down the road of making this toothing plane. As I mentioned in the last video, I have this toothing plane blade by Ulmia. And I looked at Ulmia's website and they have their plane angle at 75 degrees. So, what I did is I looked around the shop to see what I had that was close in dimension, and I had this block of hard rock maple. I cut off the cheeks. I cut the bed angle at 75 degrees. And then I cut the front angle at 60 degrees. I could have maybe done 65 degrees, but I went with 60. And then I put a wear bevel on here just at 90 degrees. This plane is not going to be set up with a fine mouth opening. It's going to have a medium mouth opening so that the chips that a toothing plane makes are sort of like scratch stock shavings. They're not really a curl. So when I went to put this all back together, I found out that I was just a little too snug. The blade won't fit. So how I solved that problem was to cut these channels in the side to match the bed angle. And very simply, all I did was take my bevel square and I would take my knife and cut some shallow grooves on one side, then the other. Come in with a narrow chisel, and if you don't happen to have an 1/8 inch chisel or a narrow chisel like this, you can easily make one. If you have an old screwdriver or something like that, you can carefully grind it down, cooling it as you go, and you can make one. And then I would come in and take very light shaving cuts until I reached the depth. Cleaned it up, and then I happen to have some nice rasps by Karate, and they have a mill file on the side here. It's a square section, but it has a mill file on the one edge. The other side's a safe edge. It has no mill. And then I would just go in here and file that out. If you happen to have a good mill file or even a bastard mill file, something like that, you could use that. So now I've got that solved, and it's going to be important for me to line this up just right so that the bed and these grooves line up. Now I can slide the blade in and it will align and wedge in perfectly with a little bit of room to adjust for lateral. So that's about it. It's not difficult to make a plane of any kind, and solving problems is what woodworking is all about. So you've got your bed angle. I did those grooves for the plane blade so that they have someplace, the edges have someplace to go. And then on the front, you've got your relief angle and your wear bevel. And now it's time for glue up. So that's about it for this one. This is a short video. Stay tuned for part 2, which will be the actual glue up. And we'll proceed from there, because we still have to do a cross pin, we still have to make a wedge, and then trim to length and give it a little bit of shape. Head out to your shop. Go make a simple project. Walter out.